Hello everyone, this is the Scrabble tutorial, and by the time you're done watching this video, you'll know your way around the game. But first, let's learn some background history.
In 1936, Alfred Mosher Butz invented a game where you earn points forming words with letters and squares. He named it Crisscross Words? That doesn't sound familiar. But then, in 1948, he sold game rights to James Bruneau, who named it to the familiar Scrabble. Then in 1952, James sold manufacturing rights to Selchow and Reiter, based in Long Island. Then he sold brand rights 20 years later to them in 1972. Selchow and Reiter ended up producing 4 million copies of the game. Then it was sold to Coleco in 1986, but they went bankrupt soon after, so Hasbro purchased the franchise, and that's where it is today.
Alright, now that you know some background history, now we can get into the actual rules of the game. So let's get started with the rules. Nominally, what you want to do is form words, complex if possible, crossword style along the Scrabble board. Notice all over the board are these colorful squares, also known as premium squares. Now, the light blue ones double your letter score, the dark blue ones triple your letter score, the light pink ones double your word score, while the red ones all out the edge triple your word score. Next, we have the racks, which can contain a maximum of 7 letters on them at a time. Each letter has a small number on the bottom right of their tile. This number represents how many points the letter is worth on a normal square. These can change, however, when it lands on a premium square. When you're pulling out a tile from your letter bag, you might just get a blank. Now, a blank has no point value, but it can represent any letter you choose when you place it on the board. This can make it crucial when you want to construct specific words. Now, let's go over some word rules. No abbreviations like IE, which would mean in essence. Also, no abbreviations like LOL or SOS. Assuming you don't speak French in this example, no foreign words like bonjour. No freestanding prefixes, so you can add milli to meter, but you can't have milli alone. No hyphenated words like x-ray. No apostrophes, so you can use do or not, but you can't use don't. And no proper names like Pierre, or no proper nouns like Eiffel Tower. Sorry for picking on you, France. Now that you know the rules, we can play the game. If I were to play a word like play, it wouldn't route me any special or premium squares, no matter how I positioned it from the center. But I would still get the points that the letters themselves contained. So P is 3, L plus 1, A is plus 1, and Y plus 4, which, if I can do addition correctly, would give me 9 points. Now it's my opponent's turn. So if my opponent put ED at the end of played, they would not only gain the 9 points from play itself, but also E and D, which is worth 3 points in total, along with the double letter score for D, which would double the 2 to a 4. So this would be 4 plus 1, 5, and then plus 9, so they would get 14 points. An important thing to note is that if I played IE off of the D to spell die, I would not get the effects of this double letter score. Once a premium square is covered by a letter, it's activated, done deal, only works once. So I would only get E1 plus I1 plus 2, 4 points. If your opponent plays a word that you think is suspicious, then you can use the dictionary that you determined of using to try and challenge their word. Now, if the word is in the dictionary, then you lose your turn because you're the one who challenged the word. But if it isn't in the dictionary, then they have to retract all the letters that they put on the board for that turn, and they lose their turn. All words in the Scrabble game must be longer than 2 letters, so that includes the first word that's played. So even though A is a word, it has to be longer than 2 letters, so you'd have to add something like a T to make it at. Now that you know the basics, we can get into some more advanced stuff. One good thing to know is that on Scrabble boards, it shows how many letters of each type there originally was in the bag. Another interesting thing to know would be to try to remember all of these 2-letter words. Now the ones I have on display here are certainly not all of the 2-letter words you can play, but they are quite interesting, even though they may not seem like words. For example, Jo, 9 points, Za, 11 points, Ki, 11 points. One last important thing to know is that if you use up all 7 of your tiles in one single word, like me here playing Scrabble, I would actually gain a 50-point bonus. If the tiles you have aren't favorable for you to make a word with, then you can use your turn to grab 7 new tiles out of the bag and use those while putting the original ones you had back into the bag. Now that you know all these rules and tips, you're ready for the final step.